And breaking just into the newsroom, former President Trump now responding on Truth Social, posting, quote, "Our country and our amazing people are not safe under Joe Biden and will be less safe under Kamala Harris. This terror would have never happened if I were president, and will stop, and it will stop the day I'm back in the Oval Office." Joining me now is former member of the White House National Security Council, Richard Goldberg. Richard, many Israelis have taken to the streets. We were just showing video of that following the devastating deaths of these 6 hostages, calling on Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to bring the remaining hostages home. I actually spoke earlier with a Congressman, Rich McCormick, who's familiar with the ongoing negotiations. I want you to listen really quickly to what he had to say.
Because from what I understand, the offer was peace if you give back the hostages and you stop violence. I don't know what else you could do. You're not going to give up your own country. You're not going to give your own people up. So where do we go from here? Because it seems pretty straightforward.
Yeah, I mentioned to him in that interview, it feels like we're stuck in the mud. Is that the case? What else can Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu do to free these hostages?
Well, it is the case that we've now seen repeatedly for months the United States work with Israel, push Israel into more and more concessions that Hamas has demanded. Every time Israel has accepted those concessions, they've gone back to Hamas, and Hamas has said, thank you for accepting these concessions. Here are new concessions. They'll never actually say yes to a deal to move forward because they see an environment where everybody is sort of sucking up to them and saying, okay, what else can we do for you, Mr. Sinwar in Gaza? And of course, their state sponsors like Iran and Qatar and Turkey continue to act with impunity, and we don't do anything to hold them accountable. And so if you're a family member of a hostage, if you're somebody who's just concerned and just wants this to end, this is emotional. This is psychological terror and warfare. You're taking to the streets. Some people already with their own politics lens attached to this. Obviously, Israeli politics is complicated. And so I understand the opportunity there to put pressure on your own government in the absence of an opportunity to put pressure on all these other actors. But we here in the United States have that opportunity. We have the power to pressure Iran and Qatar and Egypt and Turkey. We've chosen not to for almost 11 months. That's what needs to change.
These deaths, though, do they change anything? Because if you're a family member, to your point, of someone who has died or someone who's still a hostage right now, it is insult to injury, I imagine, if you don't see a change after this.
Well, I would hope that we would come together to say, first of all, what has just happened is barbaric. It is what we should have expected all along from Hamas, an evil, brutal terrorist organization that massacred 1,200 people, took 250 people hostage. This is an organization that decides to murder hostages in captivity rather than allow them to go free or to be rescued. That's who you're dealing with. And ultimately, I can argue against the strategy of the last 11 months in the United States. We can have criticism of Benjamin Netanyahu as prime minister. Only one actor murdered this American hostage and the other Israeli citizens as well. That's Hamas. Only certain actors are sponsors and enablers of Hamas. That's Iran and Qatar and Egypt and Turkey and Lebanon. Our policies need to be governed accordingly. That means maximum pressure on Hamas and its sponsors and maximum support for Israel as it goes through just a really horrendous moment here for the entire country.
Yeah, we're being told right now that protesters are actually blocking a highway in Tel Aviv. It gives you a sense of the urgency in terms of the change they want to see, the developments that come from this. I am curious. I've been at this desk for over 2 hours talking about this story, asking the same question over and over. What is it going to take? What is it going to take? We've heard President Biden talk about a ceasefire agreement potentially being reached soon, but we've heard that for quite some time. Is there anything that can be done to move the needle forward, get these hostages home, and resolve this situation?
Listen, this is like you're talking about dealing with ISIS or Al-Qaeda or name your evil terrorist organization. That's who Hamas is. We're not dealing with some normal state actor, some legitimate negotiating party. And unfortunately, the conversation makes you believe it's just, a regular negotiation. We just got to find a way to a deal. That's not the nature of this negotiation. So understand that it is possible any strategy you pursue would still fail because of how evil this organization is. And because their objective with their sponsors is to simply destroy the United States and Israel. Obviously, death to America, death to Israel. That's Iran's
So really,
Axis
really quickly, are we
motto.
hopeless then? If any strategy could fail and we're dealing with obviously terrorists here, is this hopeless?
We're not, because we hunted down Al-Qaeda leaders, we hunted down ISIS leaders. We should be helping Israel hunt down all Hamas leaders. You kill and destroy the terrorist infrastructure, and you go on offense against the rest of the terror axis, Hezbollah in Lebanon, the Houthis in Yemen, obviously Iran at the head of the octopus.
If that's what you're saying, and we know we've seen this in past incidents, obviously with other terror organizations, this may be a longer battle than many of us hope for. Really appreciate your time. Former member of the White House National Security Council, Richard Goldberg. Thank you so much.